I want to make a recommended reading list for anybody who's interested in the field of comparative religion, especially when it comes to the Abrahamic religions, being Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So I just want to make a general recommendation, a reading recommendation list. So let's start with the first book, which has absolutely nothing to do with religion. It's called A Practical Guide to Racism by C.H. Darlton. This is a hilarious book that makes fun of every race, especially black people. So if you're into like joke books and humor books, read this book. I especially like what he says about Arabs, or how he makes fun of Arabs. The second is Bart Simpson's Guide to Life. I got that back in the '90s. That's also a pretty funny book. I'm a big fan of The Simpsons, and Bart Simpson was actually pretty popular in the early '90s. So I got this book in like I don't know, I think the late '90s, early 2000s. I can't remember, but that's actually a pretty funny book too. Then I got another book that has absolutely nothing to do with religion. In fact, this guy could be the Antichrist. It's called Crippled America, Donald Trump. This book is just ridiculous. So if you want a good laugh, just read that. It just shows just how not only is he incompetent as a president, but he's also incompetent as an author. So, or he just doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. So read that book if you want a good laugh about our former president. Then I got The Muslim Jesus. That's a pretty interesting book. It has like hadith about Jesus. This was the first book I read in regards to comparative religion back in 2004. So this book actually sparked my interest in Christianity, because back then I didn't know anything about it. Then I started researching, the Bible or the New Testament, etc., etc. It's because of this book. Now, this book has a bunch of hadith. Now, whether those hadith about Jesus were actually historical verifiable or not, it doesn't look like they're they have any historicity to it, but it's still interesting what the Muslims had to say about Jesus and his disciples. So there's some pretty interesting Sufi stuff in there and things like that. Then I got Sirat an-Nabi, Volume 1 and Volume 2. I got this from a library. I just borrowed it from a mosque library and I never returned it because I'm just bad at returning things. But I had this book, and this book really helped me out. This guy is pretty good because he actually goes through like Orientalist objections to Islam, and he gives references, and he talks about the Hadith, and he talks about the Sirah, or the biography of the Prophet Muhammad, and then he goes into various issues regarding Islam, and not only regarding Islam but the Bible too. So this is a really good book. These are really two good books, Volume 1 and Volume 2. So he talks about the life of the Prophet Muhammad, etc. So he refutes like Orientalist claims. So that's another book I recommend. Then I have the Sealed Nectar. Somebody gave me this as a gift. I'm eternally grateful for that person because that person, so this is like one of the most authentic biographies you can get about the Prophet Muhammad. So it's called The Sealed Nectar. It puts the life of the Prophet Muhammad in chronological order, so I recommend getting that. Then we got a book on the introduction of the sciences of the Quran, talks about like